So welcome to the 3C committee meeting, or let me rephrase this, the advisory council meeting that is essentially the 3C committee meeting for creating our comment letter for the draft of the TIP, the Transportation Improvement Program, plan for fiscal year 2025 to 29. So I'll turn it over to Gia, who will do our introductory statements. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gia, and I'm the Public Engagement Coordinator at the Boston Region NPO. I'm going to walk us through a few things to get started with our April 24th, 2024 meeting. I will read our notice of non-discrimination. You are invited to participate in our transportation planning process, regardless of your race, color, national origin, including limited English proficiency, religion, creed, gender, ancestry, ethnicity, disability, age, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression, veteran status, or background. You can read the full notice of your rights and protections at www.bostonnpo.org/NPO_non_discrimination. For our accessibility statement, this meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Zoom products are compliant with exceptions with the following standards: Web Content Accessibility Guidelines 2.1 Level AA standards and revised Section 508 standards. If you require any additional accommodations in order to participate fully in this meeting, or if you have any technical difficulties, please contact me, Gia Hong, NPO staff at jhong, jhung@ctps.org, or at 857-702-3654, or via the chat box. Guidelines to get us started. All participants will join the meeting with muted microphones. Please rename yourself to include your first name, last name, and affiliation. Participants may mute and unmute themselves. Always remain muted unless speaking actively. To participate in the discussion, please select the raised hand function. Find this by clicking either on the participants button at the bottom of the screen and a window will pop up with the raised hand button or at the bottom, or the reactions button in the toolbar. The chair will then call on participants. If you're on the phone, you can use *9 to raise your hand.
Is that it, Gia?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So with that, let's just go around and do quick introductions. Since I think we have a couple people here who aren't part of the advisory council. So but we'll start with AC, who is a part of the advisory council.
Anna Christina Fregoso. I'm with the Boston Society of Civil Engineers.
Dan.
Hi, Dan Jeffy. I'm a Charlestown resident and an activist for transportation. Excuse me, I'm stuttering with the globe.
No problem. Thanks for joining us, Dan. Joel Paul.
Hi, my name is Joel. I'm a Somerville resident and interested in transportation policy.
Okay, great. Thanks for joining us, Joel. And Sean Rourke.
Hi, I'm Sean Rourke. I am the Manager of Communications and Engagement at the Boston Region NPO.
Thank you, Sean. And Gia introduced herself, but if you want to repeat or add anything, it's up to you. Yeah.
Gia, and I'm excited to see you all at this meeting.
Thank you, Gia. And then Ethan LaPointe.
Hi, everybody. Ethan LaPointe, Transportation Improvement Program Manager with the Boston Region NPO. I'm here for the very first few parts of this meeting, but I have to jump off shortly in case folks have any questions.
Sure. So when do you need to jump off, Ethan?
Just before 4 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Well, that's like.
Oh, I'm sorry,
like,
not 4, 3. I apologize.
Okay. All right. So it's like most of the meeting, So okay. Well, so then let's focus on any questions that anyone might have for Ethan regarding the draft tip. And so I'll just open it up at this point if you have any questions.
I did want to do Len, did you start a draft letter? Are you gonna put that up on the screen? or
No, I have not started a draft letter. I seriously thought about it, and then I remember what I said at our last meeting where I said it would be up to folks to determine whether or not they wanted me to be a part of drafting the letter, and so I said that we could get to this meeting and you all could say, we'll take it from here, Len, you can be on your way, and I totally accept that because as a person who sits at the board meetings and who has made decisions about what goes in the tip, to a certain extent, I'm kind of, I'm grading my own homework. I feel that I can be objective in doing so, but if you all felt that you want someone else to do it, I would have been fine with doing that. So that was how I rationalized not starting writing anything, but I have done, a lot more reading. I certainly have a general outline in my mind was where I want to go. So Dan?
Yeah, my concern is the Gilmore Bridge. I didn't see anything in the current tip nor the last one. Are we going to get anywhere further with that?
I don't know, Dan. I haven't heard any mention of it. But as you can see with the tip, there is the part that the MPO board thinks about. Those are the regional target funds, which we tend to focus on, and those projects explored. And there's a large number of projects that are done by the state, and they're included in the tip because there's federal funding of those projects. I did not do a search. I have not done a search through the document for Gilmore. Did you?
Yes, I did, and I didn't see anything. So
Right,
I was
right.
concerned.
Right.
We have a bridge that needs work.
What was that?
I said we have a bridge that is in need of work. In
Yeah.
fact, the Cambridge Crossing Group decided to take away a guardrail that was there for safety for pedestrians. So now we have a less secure pathway across the bridge for Charlestown residents. It's dangerous.
I hear you. Yeah, I just did a search to Control F in the document. I don't see anything for Gilmore. Well, Dan, what I'll suggest that you do is send a letter, to MPO regarding that. I will see, along with other members of the advisory council, if that's something that we want to include, in our letter, So, so anything else?
Yeah. No, just please do. That would be helpful because I think it's going to take a chorus of people to say something for it to get any ground.
Yeah. Well,
to get covered.
right. Yeah. Well, has any design work been done on it? So
No,
where?
some preliminary work supposedly, but I have not seen anything.
Oh yeah. So I think
Who owns the bridge? The city or the state?
State.
so
The
so,
state, if you go on the state website, they should probably have some mention or somewhere you can put a comment as well.
Yeah, but so yeah, Dan. I'm not quite sure what to do with this. But let me take note. And figure out how to incorporate it into either what we are doing, what we're trying to do now, or in something in the near future. I just kind of want to wrap my brain around where people are with even thinking about it. And so, alrighty. So I know this is a little bit of a cold opening, to ask people if you have any questions for Ethan, to just jump in. I'll back up and I guess what I was going to say, if there were more people here, but still AC, you're here, and that's plenty enough. First off, do you want me here, and to work on it with you? And so AC, how do you answer that question? Do you,
About the bridge specifically?
no, about working on the 3C letter. Do you want to take it and run with it? And do you want me to skedaddle?
I'm trying to think of the last time, like something to go off of would make it easier.
Yeah, well, there's the last letter, which I think is close. I think it's closer to the MPO's website should
Oh,
be. And I think I ended up writing that letter. So I had not intended to do so, but I ended up writing that letter. I think the previous 1 or 2 letters were written by Andy Reeker. I mean, some of our stuff didn't get posted to the advisory council page, on the website for various reasons, But I think at least the last 2 letters should be there, So, and then the other question is like, do you want to, regardless of whether you want me here, of course, since you're only on the one here, if you don't want me here, then by default, you're writing a letter, if you want me here, then it's up to this to decide, who takes me,
no, you should definitely stay here,
Okay.
especially since I'm a little overloaded and the first 2 weeks of May for me are gonna be hell, and the meeting is, I think, within the first 2 weeks, when is the next meeting? May?
The meeting where we're going to sign off on the letter is going to be on May 8th. And trust me, I understand about, this coming during the time of year, because it's like, well, everyone wants to get stuff done in April and May, so I totally get that, and I certainly have some momentum on this, so I'm fine with taking the lead on it, I can come up with a draft and run it by you before running it by everybody else, but I'm positively inclined towards the work that was done, I certainly can be critical. I think that was certainly the case with the LRTP. I would comment a lot on process, especially with respect to the implementation of the TIPper process, the TIP process engagement and readiness committee. I think that's been a really good addition to how we deal with the TIP. I think one indication of that is, I think initially we were planning on having like meetings every other month, and we ended up having like two meetings a month, maybe a little more frequent, as we were leading up to signing off on the TIP, which was indication of the need for such a group, and then the commitment of the members in the group. But it was the first year, and we learned some things. More so, I think the need to continue the process at perhaps a quicker tempo than we had initially planned, mainly to stay on top of how projects are going. The ones that are programmed out in the 5th year, we need to keep an eye on them in the 4th and 3rd year to make sure that they are doing design work. Because what's becoming apparent is that going from 25% design to full design, is incurring like big increases. But more importantly, well, I won't say more importantly, but nearly as importantly, is that we're seeing these delays. And so when we get up to the year when they should be ready to go, they're not ready to go, and then we have to push them out, which has a domino effect. So we're going to want to prevent that as much as possible. Ideally, prevent that and the cost increases. But I think if we can get a better handle on the cost increases, we'll prevent or at least minimize the situation where we have to push a bunch of stuff out of the near year, and then we have a bunch of money that we need to spend in the near year, and that sends us to be running to MassDOT and the MBTA asking for projects and to fill that void. And I will say we're in that situation this year, and I think we filled it with some pretty good projects. So especially on the MBTA side. So I'd like to comment on that in the letter, how we were prepared for that, given what had happened last year. And so I think we got some good projects. They weren't scored, as our projects are scored for the target funds, but we feel confident, that they meet the objectives, of the MPO, in terms of its goals, so I'll comment on that, and I don't know if I'll really comment, on specific projects, because I feel that doing that almost commits you to commenting on all of them. I have my favorites, but I wouldn't want to commit the group to those favorites, and then I wouldn't want to have to deal with the criticism of why comment on this one and not the other one. There's minimal risk in it because it's not like the comments are going to affect what happens to the project, but still, I just I'll go
No, I
through.
think a generalized
Yeah.
letter would be better.
Okay, great.
But
So,
to Dan's point, and just thinking of what just recently happened in Baltimore, this might be more of an MPO question, but is there ever within the planning process for emergencies or something that was not scheduled coming up? Can money
No.
get funneled through us or through MPO, or does it go from the feds? Like, how does that work?
I think if something on an emergency basis came up, it would either come from the state or the feds would provide it on an emergency basis. And if they did provide it on an emergency basis, would the MPO have to react to it? Probably. I'm not sure, but I would say probably, and then we'd just be, reacting on an emergency basis, and to me, that would pretty much mean like the MassDOT, would come to us and say, we have this emergency. This is our assessment of the situation. We pretty much need you to sign off on it, much like we do when we have amendments to the TEP. Ethan, do you want to chime in on that? All right, so so that's my general approach, AC. So we don't have to belabor this meeting, like I said, I don't have a draft ready to go or anything. And in all honesty, I probably won't have a draft ready to go until not this coming Monday, but the Monday after that. And I'll try to maybe get something done this weekend, but it's a busy weekend. And I'm not quite sure about next week. But the following week I should be able to commit some time to really working on it. But that said, AC, if you read through stuff and you have ideas or questions, then by all means feel free to contact me by email, and it can be an email saying I want to talk about things, because sometimes it's just easy to talk about something than it is to write, and then we can set up a conversation either by phone or Zoom. Okay. But I will suggest, another thing that I think I will comment on is the performance measurements, what's it called, PPP, but it's a smaller chapter, but I think it's worth going through that, because performance-based planning, it's interesting to see what the MPO is trying to do with that. I think it's really trying to make that more, make it more transparent, make it more useful.
Yeah.
And
I think you should definitely include that as a complimentary paragraph.
Yeah. So I'm going to try and keep it to 2 pages, 1 page front and back. Normally I try to keep things to like 1 page, maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs. I think this might beg for more, but certainly not going past 2 pages, maybe like 1.5 pages if it has to be more than 1. So
Okay.
that's about it.
Okay. A quick
right.
meeting.
Yeah, I think so. So and so if you, I think what I'll do is I will just hang around for 45 minutes in case someone else shows up. But I think after like 45, 60 minutes, if no one shows up, I think we're fine with just going, okay, the meeting ended early due to lack of participation. But if you want to boogie along, AC, that's totally fine.
Awesome. All right, then I'll keep an eye out on my Gmail. It's getting bombarded lately, but I'll keep an eye out for your name.
Okay.
All right, ciao.
All
Bye.
right, ciao.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Wow. Well, Joel, is anything on your mind?
It's very
No, I just I just heard about this meeting, and I figured I'd learn a little bit more about what the organization does. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I accidentally muted myself. So how'd you hear about the meeting?
I think I signed up to the email list somehow. I don't
Okay.
remember.
I got you. Well, Well, do you know anything about the Regional Transportation Advisory Council?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I was just signed up for a couple regional transportation, I started attending the Somerville Pedestrian and Transit Advisory Committee, and I think I just signed up for a couple email lists at the same time.
Yeah,
My son and I took a trip to Europe last summer, and we landed in London and we flew back from Copenhagen. And after experiencing the difference of what cities can look like with usable transportation systems that are fast and reliable, it's made me want to get involved and try to make it better here. I think that like the freedom of when we were in Amsterdam, I could just tell my son, "Hey, we're headed in that direction. You take the lead, and I'll follow you." Like that is freedom right there. Whereas here, I mean, every single bike lane has cars parked in it, right? The trains are slower than walking. Like there's a lot of stuff that needs improvement.
I hear you. No, that's good. That's good. So are you part of an organization, transportation related?
Not really. I go to the Somerville. I've gone to the last few Somerville Pedestrian Transit Advisory Committee meetings, but
Yeah.
not really.
Yeah, I got it. Well, certainly, so the Regional Transportation Advisory Council, which is RTAC, and we often call ourselves the Advisory Council, is a group that advises the Boston Region Metropolitan Planning Organization, which I'll just call MPO. We have a seat on the board, which is a valuable thing to have because we really do have a voice / vote, big voice at the table and a vote. And we are composed of organizations that are transportation. They're not all transportation organizations, actually. So Anna Christine, I think, is part of she's part of an architectural organization. I know we have some architectural organizations on the committee, but they all have an interest in transportation, and so we're not simply about transit too. We're also about transportation, all modes of surface transportation. So we don't cover air and we don't cover water, although we do have a member from the Massport, because the freight comes off the ships, and then they hit the roads, so that's our nexus, to the port. If we welcome pretty much any organization that wants to participate, and then the organization participates by virtue of a member of that organization. And so all we ask really is that organization, I think, attend 3, maybe 6 meetings, and then send a letter indicating that they want to be a part of the advisory council. And that's pretty much it, but as with lots of organizations, you don't really have to have a vote, to participate, and with the MPO and the advisory council, we generally will accept comments from participants, even if they're not members. Throughout the meeting, the general rule is that we allow members to speak first, ask questions first, and then anyone who's not a member can then speak or ask questions afterwards. And so if you regularly attend any of the meetings and read the material, you begin to understand things better, and just have the ability to ask questions that I think will get you answers, that will help you understand things, and then that'll give you the ability to advance your cause. My point is that don't feel that you have to join, to participate. If you participate, you'll learn stuff, and always feel free to ask questions. So that's us. That's an open invitation.
Cool.
Right. So if you have any questions, the floor is yours. Otherwise, Ethan's gone. So I can't turn to Ethan and chat with him. I can chat with Gia and Sean, unless you just want to focus on doing work, in which case I can do work too for the next 15 minutes.
I did have one question, actually.
Yeah.
So I know we've got like small improvements coming for the Silver Line extension on the coming to Sullivan Square on the T and things like that. But there was at one point a plan for a circumferential line that kind of connects to all of the other subway lines outside of downtown Boston, right?
Yeah, it's called the urban ring,
Yeah.
and, yeah, that harkens back to like the early noughties, maybe in the late 90s. Yeah, and
I'm just thinking about a lot of the trips that I would take, like, that even I mean, this seems like such a pie in the sky thing compared to the small improvements that are being actually made, right? But it just seems like getting across town is just so difficult. It's like going from Somerville to Alton or over to Cambridge. You can take it's faster to walk than to take the train or the bus sometimes, right? I just I don't know. I just hope something like that can happen in my lifetime, but I don't know how feasible that is, right?
well, and so I think an outer ring by rail probably isn't going to happen. Probably no time soon. You never know though. But could you get an outer ring with the express bus or buses that run faster, even if they're not necessarily express buses? That might be possible. I mean, it seems like we're trying to, well, we're either intentionally or not, kind of doing something like that with the Silver Line, and having it go from, is it Chelsea to
Sullivan.
yeah, so that's kind of getting at it, and so if you could take that and go to, I'm thinking like Alewife, or if you could go from Chelsea to Wellington, and then from Wellington to Alewife, because I had this notion once of like running a bus from Alewife to Wellington along Route 16. One of the problems with that is that for low ways, down the Mystic Valley Parkway, it's a DCR road, and you're not really supposed to buses on that. But that's just legal stuff. I mean, we can change that. There's no like compelling reason. There's no like physical reason that can't be done. And that kind of gets you a little bit of the outer ring. So but I think it takes people making the case for it. And you certainly have some allies I know who still really would like to see that and make the case that you would have a higher amount of ridership, and something like that, versus some other projects that they have that are thinking of with respect to transit. But I know the one person who's really a big proponent of it feels that would really, you only get that level of ridership if it was rail and not bus.
Yeah.
I just think rail is going to be hard to come by.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you.
Sure. Well, Gia, Sean, anything you want to talk about?
No, not for me.
Okay. All right. So, well, I guess I would also say, if either of you want to leave, that's fine. I can just hang out with the other one, until 3:15, 3:20. Then just call it a meeting. So.
Yes.